mid-60s here in Chicago. You know what I mean? You see, I stuck with it, bro.
What?
I'm trying to grow it in.
Oh
Got some
yeah,
little, got
looks
some
good.
little areas to fill. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I was told by my barber that I had to feed it.
you got to, man.
I
Put
said,
some
"What
of
you
that.
mean?" I said, "I need to buy products already." He was like, "That's like saying, dude, you need to feed your baby." He was like, "What are you talking about?"
That's right.
I said, "Okay."
That's right. Got
So
to
I,
treat yourself, man.
I got to get my serum and my conditioner and all of that stuff. See if I can make it through the tough times. Kind of like Notre Dame fans are trying to make it through this season after starting 0-2.
That's right.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm Shaun Davis. That dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. Brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you drink.
Responsibly.
Got to. Today's show, we're going to cover some stuff that we talked to SI's Brian Smith, FB Scout underscore Florida on Twitter. You can go follow him. You can also go follow him on YouTube at the Florida Scout YouTube channel. It's a great conversation. We're going to talk about the transfer possibilities next year. He thinks Notre Dame should get 2 transfer quarterbacks. That might be a little excessive, but one should be in the offing for Notre Dame in the offseason. Then we'll talk about how November 5th was always going to be the Saturday to bookmark before the season, and even more now that we're at this point. November 5th is everything for Notre Dame. We'll keep talking about that. And we have some new recruits. We'll watch a little bit of film. And, you told me, LL Nation told me not to tell you to be nice. They told me to go the other way and tell you to be yourself, and then maybe you would be nice in talking about film in the comments. So I'm going to try it that way. Be yourself, Left. Be
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
as we go through this film from 3 new offers that Notre Dame has put on the table recently. Great conversation with Brian Smith yesterday. And I want to get right into it because it was interesting what he said about the recruiting, where Notre Dame sits recruiting wise. But the most impactful thing, in my opinion, is that he talked about the importance of the state of Florida when it comes to winning national championships, and saying that it's very rare that anyone wins a national championship without actually having guys from the state of Florida on their roster that make a difference. You played with guys from Florida. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think you have an explosive quality to Florida athletes that you instantly look at and be like, "Oh man, yeah, we need that on the field."
Mm.
Coaching it and managing it is a whole nother thing. I think you need a whole nother department in your athletics to handle just Florida players because it's just, it's just so all over the place. I do think having them on your team, you know that you have a greater probability of having a more dynamic offense, guys that can do more, guys that can do more in space. And
Mm.
that's just the game we're playing today. I wouldn't really have too many Florida guys on the Wisconsin team because that's not the style of play that I'm going with. You see what I'm saying? So with what we're doing at Notre Dame, we have a nice mix of what we have up front to combine that with what we have as athletes. But Lorenzo Styles is just as good as any Florida player. I do think. Uh,
You just have to bring up the Ohio kid, huh?
no, but I'm just saying from a speed and explosive importance to our offense, I think
I got you. I got
he can feel what that is, but you know, a guy like Braden Lindsey, if he was a Florida guy, I think it would just be more dynamic for us. Just because it's just maybe a mindset. Braden Lindsey is a well-rounded individual. I don't take him much as a fierce competitor, but
Mm.
he's a great athlete. You see, and I think having a lot of guys from Florida, you get the mentality, just like our guy Brian Smith was saying, that it's just different, and different in the sense that, you know, they're they're taking heed more. They're not going to Italy, on the off season to study abroad. They're going back home to the global foot doctor and doing some drills on break. So that's just the difference right there. Like, not that guys don't take breaks or relax, but during the time of of what they're doing in school and trying to make it to the league, they're continually working on that. Not that Braden Lindsay doesn't work, but that's just the difference. Guys are going back home or staying up there and they working on whatever. So the the drive for Florida guys, I think having enough on the team can push you in the right direction. But you still need a quarterback and you still need other support pieces.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Brian Smith joined us, and my question directly to him was, when does Notre Dame actually get a Keon Keeley type, that type of big time talent from Florida? Here is what he had to say.
Keon, I know Keon pretty well. That situation's bizarre, and I'm not going to get into it too much. But I mean, a lot of kids, especially, Keon's a national top 50 kid conservatively. Most people think he's top 10, top 15.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is just relationship. I cover UCF, and I'm pretty good contact with their staff. And Travis Williams is their DC, and he's as good a recruiter as there is in the country. And somebody asked him at one of our press conferences, "What do you guys sell?" And he says, "Oh, that's easy. You sell yourself in relationships. That'll win every time." And he's right. And Marcus and many of the people on the Notre Dame staff do the same thing. It helps to have the Notre Dame degree and all that. But this is a long story I'm going to put into 20 seconds. Florida kids are different than any other state in the country.
Oh, yeah,
Even if you live, I mean, you know that because you went to Florida, but it is different. They look at things much, much more individually. And for
yes,
the most part, kids in Florida do not fit Notre Dame. Notre Dame knows that. The problem is winning, like you're talking about, can they contend for a title? What's the odds of winning a title without Florida talent, at least in some way, a part of your roster? It's pretty low. It is a juggling act because the kids in Florida, Keon's not as much as some of the others. It's a me first. How do I get to the league? The degree means very little.
yeah,
So Notre Dame doesn't have as much power in that sense. The ones that it does, it's a lot. There's just no middle ground. It's hard to explain. But
yes, no, it's definitely
yeah,
no
I mean,
middle.
you were in Gainesville. You get it. When you first got there and met some of these guys, I'm sure you're like, this is not like South Bend. I know that took place in your
Yeah,
mind.
it was just like you said, everybody is so different individually, case
Oh,
to case, and there's so many different things behind each recruitment. Like, it's not like, oh, I came on junior day and I fell in love and committed the day after. It was like
no.
somehow on recruitment day, I signed to a school, but end up enrolling in a different school at the last minute, and then I
Yeah.
transferred the year after. Like, it's the craziest.
No. Florida cheats. Georgia's dirty as hell, etc.
Yeah,
All that's
it's
true. That hurts Notre Dame too, but that is just the side point. The
yeah.
culture in Florida. And I talk to coaches around the state from Miami to Pensacola. We don't know, as people that cover it, as people that coach it, administrators, we don't know where it is harvested from, but it is an epidemic. And the further south you go, the more it's that way.
Worst. It's the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. There you have it. That's recruiting in the state of
Now
Florida.
you know a person that was uh, really good and changed the program from recruiting wise, getting guys from Florida that are anomalies to the recruits at the school was Coach Alford.
Mm.
Coach Tony Alford was able to bring in guys like Tarian, Greg Bryant, Corey Holmes, guys from Florida that probably wouldn't have came to Notre Dame if it wasn't for Coach Alford. And you see the effect of what Coach Alford had on Ohio State and the amazing blow up they had in their recruitment with Urban Meyer, especially in the running back position. and just in recruitment in general, because at Ohio State, Tony Alford became the head of recruiting for the team, the head recruiter for the team. So Coach Alford's recruitment of what Notre Dame had in 2013, 14, a little bit of 12, I think it just shows that he's the type of guy that can be the relationship person outside of Marcus Freeman that can go down there, really, sell himself and sell Notre Dame. And some of the guys that he brought up didn't last, but he got them there. And he was able to get them on the field. And, the production they had was beneficial to us. So I do think that having guys like that, not everybody's the greatest recruiter, but guys that can have relationships in those areas are maybe a premium, like left tackles in the league.
Yeah. Tony Alford was a big loss. Big loss, especially for the reasons that you ended up losing him. That's like, man, he was a guy that if he stuck around, that's why you see Keon Keeley being heavily forecasted to be a commit to Ohio State in the next coming weeks. I think that forecast has been out there for probably the last 2 days. He's already been to 2 Ohio State games. He went to the Wisconsin game and the Notre Dame game. That says a lot. But when you have a legendary defensive line coach like Larry Johnson that has a resume just as strong as Harry Hiestands as far as developing guys and putting them in the NFL, I mean, shoot. Just based off the 2 Bosas and your boy that plays for Washington, that just those 3 would make any young kid feel like, okay, this is the guy that can develop me at this position. So, when you're going after kids like that, mixed with guys on the coaching staff that have that type of resume, it's going to be a tough uphill battle.
It's going to be a tough uphill battle. Guys like Keon, we would love to have at Notre Dame. I think if we just had one, it would set a good trend for that to continue. If you think about Notre Dame when we had Stephon Tuitt, a Florida guy, and the guys that came after Tuitt,
Big
guys
Nick
like
was a Florida guy too, right?
Nix was a Florida guy.
Yeah.
And look at that. When we had 2 amazing Florida talents.
Aaron Lynch was a Florida guy before he left.
And this is national championship. We was national championship level where we believed it. You put Aaron Lynch, Eshaq Williams, Lou Nix, and Stephon Tuitt on the D-line with Manti back there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that spells championship.
Yeah.
Because each one of them individually is their own character. 2 is his own character. Lou, rest up Big Lou, he was his own character. Eshaq was his own guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he brought his little New York.
And then Aaron Lynch, as a true freshman, was making some crazy headways. He was Will Anderson before Will Anderson. So when we had 3 Florida guys out of the 4 on that D-line,
mm-hmm.
it spelled dominance. We was dominant up front. This is during the era when we playing against Pitt and they had Aaron Donald. We had a better D-line than Pitt.
Yeah.
And Pitt had Aaron Donald at that time. And we had guys from Florida. So when we had guys from Florida on that D-line, it showed.
Yeah, I mean, when Lou Holtz came here, he invaded Florida.
Yeah.
And was able to get difference makers as well. So you can't avoid the state. Like, you have to be willing to go in there and fight. Late in the 22 class, if I'm not mistaken, Notre Dame lost a defensive back to Florida late in the process that they thought they had. And, Keon Keeley in the 23 class, So it is one of the things, the bright spots, Brian Smith did say. They talk about Marcus Freeman all the time. The kids do. They're impressed. They love the relationship he builds. They love the grinder that he is. I was shocked to find out that Charlie Weiss was similar in recruiting, grinding. Like that's what he did every day, go after the best. So that's what I wanted to hear, that the relationships are being built. I understand where this staff is at the beginning of trying to establish things. So certain decommitments at this point, it's like okay, but what are the relationships? Like the Keon Keeley, honestly, like Notre Dame, like Marcus Freeman, and all the other bizarre stuff just kind of created the situation that exists now. I can deal with that. I can deal with that because you can't control that. You can't control agents, runners, NIL, all of this other stuff that's floating around, the dirty part of the game that he talked about in that clip. Look, I would love to have a team that participated in that. Unfortunately, that's just not Notre Dame.
Just not Notre Dame.
It's just not Notre Dame, and they're not going to go down that road. So it is what it is. One of those key positions, and you talked about it, you were very adamant on yesterday's show that you would be interested immediately in Jeff Sims. Like if you reached out to Keaton Slovis as soon as he hit the portal, as soon as Jeff Sims' name hits the portal, you're all for Notre Dame giving him a call.
100%. And I think that is because he's not only has some experience, but he has the ability that, we were asking Tyler Buckner to do, but I believe he's better at doing it. I think he's more consistent of a passer. Plus, I think, from a transfer perspective, this would be a great move just to be able to stay on top of having success with transfers with Jack Cohn. You skipped a year and now you got another guy with Jeff Sims. I think it's just important. And he's a Florida guy, by the way, just to throw that in there. But I think it can spell some great karma for us. I think when we're looking at the guy that but that we offered that we're going to review later, you see a lot of the dynamic ability in that, but he's a freshman. Train that up. You get a Jeff Sims who's more accurate. He's not just throwing it deep and running around. He's making reads. He's making tough throws, but he's also, when he's asked to, making big plays in the run game. So I think that'll be a great step in trying to change the quarterback room from a culture. Instead of having two guys that can do one thing, you got one guy that can do both.
Yeah, I like the kid. I like him a lot. His ability, the way he competes. Just watching him in that first game against Clemson when he didn't have any help and he was still single-handedly going out there competing, making plays. And at the end of the day, you look at the scoreboard and you realize, man, he might not have played as well, but if you actually watched the game, you saw, he was putting it on the line. He showed me a lot, even in the losing cause. Lucky Lefty podcast. Brian Smith also talked to us about possibilities at quarterback and transfers and a little tidbit on availability when it comes to one of Notre Dame's quarterbacks.
If you take out currently, I say yes, because the chances of them not landing at least one, and in my preference, two transfer quarterbacks, look, it's not that hard. I'm a quarterback stat nut. And here's all you need to know about how important experience is a quarterback for those that want CJ to okay, let's just say he does enroll next year. I have no idea. Chances of him being good are like this. Drake May, ironically, who they just played, is the only quarterback ranked in the top 20 of the FBS right now. All the other freshmen or sophomores. Everybody else, junior, senior, fifth-year senior. It's the one spot where it just, you played it.
And that's why Marshall had a really good draft in that game.
Yeah.
And his quarterback was like 15 for 15.
Yeah. He just threw them 4-yard hitches.
Yes.
They didn't throw anything at him that he was like, I haven't seen. Nope.
No, he
just. But as a freshman, you think CJ would be in that case? Oh, hell yeah, he would.
Even look at Tyler in the same Marshall game, throwing pick sixes on hitches.
Tyler, that's just the difference. just not. He's not ready for one. I don't know if he ever will, but he did not look comfortable at all in that game. So I don't know the dynamics around it, but in my eyes, they can't rely on him to be the guy next year. Beyond that, just because he's never healthy. That's just my opinion, and I talked about it.
Not available.
I'm not a jerk, but are you available is the absolute, unequivocal number one thing the NFL general managers look at.
Are you available? That's very interesting. He brought that point up about the quarterback battle that might be coming in the offseason. Does Drew Pine stay? Does he retain the quarterback starting position? Who comes in to compete in the transfer portal? Does Tyler Buckner go? Does he stay? Availability is the most important thing at the quarterback position. And unless he's ready to change the way he plays the game, I don't know if you can really believe that he's able to stay on the field, Left.
Yeah, it's hard to really know because right now he's injury prone. He's not durable. So it's hard to count on that, not only in recruiting, but development. You missing X amount of time and lengths of time to where you haven't developed it. You're a junior. And now instead of being a guy that started with packages and a full-time starter, you just a utility guy. So it hinders the team, it hinders himself in development, it hinders recruitment. So what Brian Smith said was absolutely right. Bringing in two guys wouldn't be a bad thing. Regardless if CJ reclassifies, which I don't think he should. But with that being said, it just turns into bringing in two guys, bringing in Jeff Sims and maybe another guy. Not only will give you insurance as a program in that quarterback room, but you're going to get something of a competitive culture in that room as well. I don't think there's a competitive room in the culture right now, even when Tyler was healthy, because none of them have an edge for real. Or at least a grind against each other. Like it's all a bunch of good guys just hoping to get their chance. At least when I was in the room, I was beefing with all the quarterbacks.
Now you have to explain that, dude. A competitive beef?
Competitive beef. I didn't want none of them to do better than me at all, ever. And even when me going through the competitions, like I still felt like I was the best one in the room to this day. Felt like I was better back then,
So if I sat you, if we met, if we went to a rooftop in LA today, and it's you, Deshaun,
and throw Tommy in there,
and Tommy,
Brandon,
all five of you guys,
all of them.
You sitting there telling them you still the best out of the bunch.
Way better than all of them.
Not way better. Way better.
Okay, I'm not gonna say way better.
Because regardless of the way you feel, you guys still kind of looked up to Ev as the OG.
Yeah, Ev was definitely the OG, but I felt like at a point where it crossed over, Ev knew it was competitive. Ev knew what was up. He even left. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the year he came back and they gave it to him, I think he wasn't pushing himself because they just eliminated the whole competitive thing. It was just, it's just he got it, you just chill. But that season I was getting better, and fuel to the fire because I felt like I should have played throughout the season just because of the standard. Like Coach Kelly don't like guys that had turnovers, and Ev was leading the country in turnovers by himself at that point.
That Arizona State game was
crazy.
It was crazy.
So it's like, okay, you guys are trying me or whatever. So that started how the whole thing ended up, LSU game and all of that. So during that time, going into the next year, it was still competitive. Deshaun was trying to come up with Brandon, and they was because at first they didn't know if it was Deshaun or Brandon as the guy that was backing it up. It was pretty even at that point. I think when the Virginia game happened, because it was so early, they was like, okay, we'll just go Deshaun because, he'd been here.
That was like Brandon's second game ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Brandon, provided something different happened, but it wasn't like it was just a clear, all right, throw him in there. But even with that, it was just still competitive. And I think that having that competitive beef made us better individually. I know it didn't. I think whenever the coach like deemed the competition over and unjustly and wrongfully, we didn't have great seasons. AF season, we finished with the bowl win, but we lost that Florida State game and a couple games that we shouldn't have lost. The Deshaun season when he made a decision too early, we went 4-8, and everybody got fired. So I do think having a competitive beef or competition in that room bodes better for the team throughout the season. I mean, look at Ev and Tommy. They was playing both during the season. And they made it to the championship. But I know they for sure was beefing. Maybe not saying nothing to each other, but it was like, I know Tommy, look at Tommy now. I know he was probably slick with some of the stuff he said when Ev didn't do well and vice versa, So, but I do think however they handled it, it was professional enough to get them to the championship, and they both played in the game. So I think it worked in that aspect. Right now, like I said, the room isn't that in my opinion, isn't that competitive. I don't think Ron Paulus is challenging the head seat. I don't think Angeli's, I think he's more learning and getting in the mix. I don't think he's just outright give me the spot. I mean, have you seen what's going on, because
Yeah.
I think Tommy would appreciate that in a time like this. But Drew's doing good, coming off of playing a bad team. And I think that's going to give him confidence. He looks comfortable now. So hopefully that bodes well moving forward.
Lucky Lefty podcast. It's interesting you say that, man. I really never looked at it from that standpoint. A Bryce Young probably made Mac Jones a little bit better.
Because he's on his heels,
He was on his heels.
And it could have went either way, in my opinion. I think it could have went either way.
When you talk about that, let's dig a little deeper before we start looking at some of these recruits. Lucky Lefty podcast, Shaun Davis, Malik Zaire, brought to you by Onora Whisky. When you make that type of decision, or you have that type of battle going on, a lot of people would want their quarterback room to be one where guys pull for each other. And what you're talking about is competitive beef. You're cool with each other, but just like in rap, it's competition.
Right.
Like if you're the best, I'm coming for you. I might throw some shade in my lyrics. Don't take it personal. It's just competition. It is what it is.
But it was about being the best.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the best in the country. Deshaun wanted to be the best in the country. Ev wanted to be the best in the country, not just in the quarterback room. So that's why the beef was so real, because it's like you're in the way of something way bigger than just winning this battle. I think once we left, it became about the battle and just winning the job. And when it was just about winning the job, once they won the job, it was like, shit, I'm just trying to hold on to the job. When I was in there, I won the job and I was like, all right, we finna win the country. We going for the whole thing. And it's a feel that you watch and you get when you watch a team that's driven on we're going for everything, instead of just saying, I want it fair and square, now let me do my thing. So I think, not allowing Phil to challenge Ian maybe hindered Ian a little bit. Made Ian play more safe because he was comfortable. He didn't have the threat of putting Phil in there and throwing it deep, because Phil could throw it deep. It was like, well, I could throw these 5-yard under routes all day. Win or lose or draw, I'm going to be good because I have security. Maybe if he was pressured, they throw Phil in there because Ian can't push it down the field, and Phil mess around and start looking good. Ian probably would have started taking more shots. Maybe, who knows?
Right.
But I do know that they did that at Clemson when Trevor Lawrence came in there and the game they was winning, had no reason to put Trevor in there. First play, Trevor getting there, they throw a deep pass, it looked beautiful, and we all knew
Right.
at that moment, regardless of what everything that Kelly Bryant did before that play. It didn't matter.
It was a wrap. It was a wrap. It was a
And he
wrap.
came back in and he was trying. He was trying. And then Trevor Lawrence got back in that thing, got the ran a dude over or something. And what do? Now, I
Like,
feel like if Phil did that at Notre Dame,
yeah,
they would have replaced Ian.
yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't want to let Ian go. So Phil had to leave.
So let's talk about maybe a future quarterback that was offered 2023 class. 247 Sports has Brandon Hillman out of Churchland High School, Portsmouth, Virginia. He's not ranked currently. A lot of people think he's a high 3-star, 6'2", 180 pounds. And left, when you check out the young man's film, I'm going to be honest with you. He's not being recruited specifically because he plays quarterback, but he's also a big time safety. So Notre Dame just wants him because he's a tremendous athlete. They want to get him into the program, and then they'll figure out where he's best suited to play. So really won't affect, what we've been talking about as far as transfers that they need to go out and get. But when you watch this young man's film, man, you have to come away very, very impressed with what he's able to put forward. 2,400 all-purpose yards, 31 touchdowns in his junior season. And as you can see, and you watch his film from the quarterback position.
A lot of this looks like, personally, I'm not a big fan of quarterback highlight films where the first 3 minutes is you just throwing it deep and running around. I think that's a trap that a lot of coaches make sometimes because, if we taking 4 or 5 minutes before we even see you throw a slant or anything other than a go route, it's a need for concern. That's why, I'm not too harsh on the fact that he's not being solely recruited as a quarterback. I love the fact that he's just an explosive player. He's a now type guy. He's going to get on your toes right now. He's going to make a decision right now. He's going to do what he does, and he's explosive while doing it. This reminds me a lot of what Tyler Buckner's film looks like in high school, call him the Black Buckner, because he's running around, throwing it deep, running people over, running around guys. Similar to what we asked Tyler Buckner to do, except when you're on a college level, this is just not going to be taking place all the time. You're not going to be stiff arming linebackers and running power and running 80 yards. That's just not realistic. Are you going to get a couple off? Yeah, that's why they recruit you. But, come on. You have a 3-by-1 formation. The field side isn't even running.
You saw that, right? The receivers didn't even move.
So it's just, poor guy to think that, that's what he's dealing with. But I'm just saying. Now, I do, from an athlete standpoint, it's just at this point with all the two-way guys we got right now, can we get a technician? What is he really good at? If he's not playing, if he's not doing this on the football field, what is he going to do in a role on a team that requires everybody to do their job? We don't really have a team right now to where a guy can freestyle, where it's just like all about him. It's more like, if you're special, be special in what we ask you to do, and you're going to shine, which requires you to be a technician in a lot of ways. I'm sure Braden Lindsey on a Miami or one of these other, maybe even North Carolina, would probably have a lot of yards. But in Notre Dame's offense, you got to know that exposition like the back of your hand, because you're going to be plugged in spots. You're going to get your 8 targets, but it's going to be on a post, it may be on a slant, maybe on a go route, maybe a dig, maybe a screen. You go to North Carolina, you're in a go, a post, and out, a screen. With us, you got a motion, run an over route, run a whip, maybe run a go route. You got a bunch, you got a stalk block. Maybe it's so many different pieces that you got to really know your job, because when you ask to do it, you're gonna be wide open and you're gonna look crazy if you're not there, and Thomas gonna cut you out on the phone. So I can understand why he says he don't trust Tobias Merriweather yet, because it is a little more complicated, because you're just not freestyle. You know, you got to know it's got to be at this depth, to this depth. For guys like Drew Pine, he needs that. Because if you're not at that depth on that spot,
He just threw a little skinny post right there. That was the first skinny post I saw. You're right.
and we 5 minutes in,
Yeah.
that's not a guy I'm trying to recruit. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, I like him for what he can do, but this ain't even real offense. I mean, what are we recruiting for? If we recruiting him for potential safety, I want to see some. Can he tackle?
No, he's got some safety film that's pretty. This is quarterback film. I've seen his safety film. He's a big time hitter. He is. He's a big time hitter. So,
And that's probably what Xavier Watts was for when they looked on film. A big time hitter. He's tall, he's big, he's fast. But the problem with guys that are two-way guys like this, I brought up with Rico Flores.
mm-hmm.
When you get on a team, what's your role and what are you going to be good at? Rico Flores is not going to be playing wildcat quarterback, running it out of the backfield, catching it in slot and at the receiver, catching. It's a lot. Kick return, punt return. How are they going to play him? They may just use him as an outside guy for the first 2 years. How does he adjust to that? Can he be consistent playing outside and not having to jump all over the place? When you jump all over the place, you get more open.
Mm-hmm.
But if you confine to one side, how do you operate in a short space, majority of the game? So, I think it's interesting. I think he would be another kid that'd probably be a 2-year transfer guy, because he'll come in, get some reps. They won't really know where to play him for the first year. Gets frustrated, sees a bunch of transfers happening, probably wants to leave. Just because where is he going to be at on the field? Is he better than what we got right now at slot? Is he better than what we got right now at safety than the guys that have been there that are safety specialists at this point? So it just depends. I think if we're going to take guys that are two-way guys like that, let's do how Alabama does and turn their running backs to linebackers and defensive ends. That bodes pretty well.
I mean, they kind of did that with Josh Burnham, who was a wide receiver and a linebacker. They made the decision to move him to defensive end early because of his quick first step. And that's where he trained at all, spring and fall camp. And next year he'll put some weight on. He'll be one of your options coming off of the edge, which is needed with Isaiah Foskey getting ready to leave.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to see what our recruiting is like. It's interesting.
Well, I asked him to play nice. He kind of did. Another offer went out to 3-star Kyron Jones from Charlotte Christian. I'm familiar with this guy because they are the rivals for Jack Larson School down there in Charlotte Catholic. And they played a fantastic game early in the season. It was a 1-point victory for Catholic. He had a really good game, Kyron Jones. He is, projected to pretty much be a lock for North Carolina State. He hasn't committed yet. He's a 3-star currently right now, but the kid runs like a 4.38, dude. He's like the North Carolina D1 state champion in the 100 meters and 200 meters as a junior. They talk about him having a super explosive first 10 to 20 yards. His production as a junior part-time, 900 plus rushing yards at 8.7 a clip left. And that's, when you hear that type of stuff about a kid, it's like, okay, we might be cooking with grease here.
A lot of numbers. A lot of
I
numbers.
mean, everybody puts up numbers, dude. I mean, numbers are numbers. They are what they are, Left.
Absolutely love it.
I mean, I'm sure the best running backs put up numbers.
I mean, Jabron Payne put up numbers, man. I can't wait to see him roll out there.
Yeah, we got to get him on the field. But I mean, the running back room, you talked about the tight end room and what it looks like for guys trying to come in. That running back room is probably just as bad, over the next couple of years, especially with the 23 guys and the possibility of adding Jeremiah Love. It could be crazy.
Yeah. I think if anything, it'll shake itself out because I think Dean McCullum can be real enough to guys to be like, look, we're going to roll this way. We're going to do this. We're going to get these reps.
Okay. He
And
has easy speed. He has easy speed. I
it's
see
just
that.
not enough. It's not enough football as far as deep as our running back room is. I wonder what Dina McCullum's evaluating when he looks at running backs. Is he looking for first cut? Is he looking for break tackling?
Oh, good balance.
Breakaway speed. He looked a little stiff up top, like a George Atkinson.
He looks, real trackish when he runs.
Trackish.
Yeah.
Especially because he got some height. It's definitely George Atkinson reminded me of. Just a sturdy, strong, tall guy. I mean, looking at Richard Young, he wasn't he was a little stiff, but he's a little more explosive through the hole than this guy. I don't know how much his forward lean is because he runs kind of trackish up and down, but we get him on the edge to do this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. His speed is real.
Speed is real.
His speed is real. I see why he's champion of 100 and 200. Why they say his first 10 to 20 yards is explosive. Got a little miss me.
Track guys like this are definitely more utility players than football players to me. I wouldn't have him carrying the ball 20, 25 times a game like Aldrich Estime.
Right.
But he'll be a nice Chris Tyree switch up if I'm trying to do some jet sweeps or some utility stuff, because he probably can't run routes great. He's probably not a terrific blocker, but he can put the ball in his hands, outflank the defense left and right, maybe throw him some bubbles and screens. I mean, that's great, but we need more meat in our offense, more Kyron Williams type, every down back type of guys. I think guys like this are just more icing on a cake than it is the cake.
Yeah, he's 6'1". Right now, he's about 193 left. So at 193, he's going to get to about 215, 210.
And where do you put him at? Once again, he's definitely too big for a slot receiver. I mean, you could have as a Deebo Samuels type of player, but he's not to me, he doesn't look like a natural football player. He just looks like a really great athlete with track speed that you can do a lot of different things with, but he's not like a Jalen Waddle fast. Where Jalen Waddle is super fast, but it's like football fast. It's like he gonna juke you, he gonna run, it's a different lean to it. This guy's like, all right, we saw you run track. We was like, hey, you want to play football? He comes out, you throw him a toss, and he just outruns everybody the first time. And so you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's the next thing. But, throughout the course of a game, you might catch a pitch on a drive maybe once or twice. The rest of the drive, your ass better block. You better be able to run a route, fill a hole, hit a hole, catch the ball out the backfield maybe. So stuff like this is like, all right, where's number 5 at? Let's sub him in. We got this special play we want to run. Not like he's our starting H. You better be careful week to week because he may hit you with a post or he may catch it at a drag and take off,
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a fast guy, but where do you put him? Does he have any technique?
Nah.
I mean, if anything, I'd rather take a guy with technique and low athleticism for what Tommy's asking for.
Yeah.
That's why you get guys like freaking Salerno. He probably can run the shit out of some in and out cuts. You know what I mean? He may not take the top off like the guy we just watched, but he can in and out cut the hell out of stuff probably,
I mean, that goes without question, and it's a possibility. But, when you look at trying to flip, let's be honest. What they're trying to do with this first class is increase the athleticism and speed. That wasn't there. And obviously they looked at the roster and said, it's not there. It's not there. And on the back end of this recruiting class, they're going to get athletes, and that's what they're doing. They're going out there and getting athletes.
The athleticism is there.
And here's a couple of plays from Brandon Hillman. The second one is going to be him as safety, and you'll see what I'm talking about, with him bringing the pain. This is, of course, him being a quarterback. This is what is crazy.
Yeah.
That's the athleticism. They're like, okay.
I like that. Now, this is another quarterback recruit?
No, this is the same one we just looked at. Now he's playing safety. They got him in the slot, but he's playing safety. He comes up on the screen. Bam!
Oh, he's just the guy that just go, okay.
See, that part right there, I'm like, okay.
He a football player.
He's a football. There you go, Left.
Player. There we go.
He's a football player.
Okay.
And they're like, okay.
Kids are just like, hey, go out there and lock him up. You're like, all right, bro, I got him.
Like, man, I saw this. I was like, okay, yeah.
Like, I'm not scared. I'm gonna lock you up. I'm gonna just play. I'm gonna just instincts. Right. If I see ball, I'm gonna go get it. I may not be able to give you all the techniques, but damn it, don't run my side.
I'm running to the ball. Like, and when I get there, it's gonna be a problem.
Somebody
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm knocking something over. You might catch me on the reverse or something because I'm so heavy on ball. But listen.
Like
don't put me in his face now. I might make a play.
So that, immediately people saw quarterback and they're like, oh man, it's like, no, this kid,
he's an athletic football player.
He's a football player.
Not a he's positionless. He's just a football guy. Helmet,
right,
pads.
Right.
Damn it, if you need to plug a hole in something, throw him in there. You might see him a little everywhere. Somebody go down, you need a breather. Hey, dude, just
I told you I had a clip of safety that he was just like, okay.
Okay, you're a football guy.
So the next guy we're going to look at has a very interesting story. His name is Ryan Mooney. He's a 6'2" kid, 6'4", 170, out of Orchard Lake, Michigan, class of 2023 from St. Mary's Catholic High School in Orchard Lake, Michigan. He's a 3-star right now. And this kid 3 months ago wasn't even ranked. You know why Left? Because he was committed to Notre Dame as a baseball player months ago. This kid was coming to Notre Dame as a baseball player. So over the summer, he went to 7-on-7 camps, Left. This kid timed at 4.28 in the 100. 4.28 in the 100. And while he was going into his senior year preparing to come to Notre Dame to play baseball, he started getting offers, D1 offers from schools. And just recently, he made the decision to decommit from the baseball team. I talked to him the other day. I talked to him Tuesday after he got his offer. And he was like, decommitting from Notre Dame had nothing to do with anything other than I started getting big-time football offers. And I made the decision to play football. Now, he's not getting your normal football scholarship. He is being designated as a preferred walk-on opportunity, which is different than the scholarships he's getting from other schools. You know, you hear 4.28, and I'm like, okay, I definitely have to watch this film. Because if this kid is hitting 4.28, I'm like, what's the deal? Left, you hit 4.28, your ears perk up, right?
Yeah, because you hit
You're like, okay, like 4.28, like, yo, this
because then
dude
they say
has.
like you're really, really good if you're hitting like a 0.25 in the major leagues or something like that.
Well, it's if you're good at football and you get some Power Five scholarships, that baseball route, that's a
It's
long
still more
route.
lucrative.
Yeah. Oh, that is guaranteed money. You know me, I'm all for baseball, bro. I'm all for the baseball route.
Yeah,
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm telling my kid, yeah, definitely.
go play
Any kid I'm
baseball.
connected to that can play baseball,
Yeah, don't waste
yeah.
your time with the glitz and glamour of what a football scholarship is. If you doing all that in baseball, don't waste your time.
All right, here you go. Ryan Mooney. You guys want it? That's last year. No drops. Late bloomer. There he is on the outside.
Slow off the line. He just looks slow. I don't know. Maybe he's I don't know.
He got some long legs. I know that.
That's some long, yeah, he got some
His
long.
torso is.
Just another guy that's athletic that we just offering. I mean,
Once again, preferred walk on. Not a regular scholarship. Not expected to come in and be impactful. But I mean, if this is going to be your Matt Salerno type at 6'4" with some speed.
but don't we got Tobias Merriweather that's an actual receiver? Isn't he 6'4" with all the kid and caboodles?
Hey man, you got to stop being angry, man.
I'm not. I'm at. Well,
Tobias ain't got nothing to do with this
I
young
am
man's film, man.
right. Absolutely right. Yeah, I am angry because this.
I know you are. You were about to go down that Tobias that rabbit hole.
Where's our recruits where we're like, man, we need him on the team today. Where them videos at? I want to see them. I'm tired of seeing these crazy stories of this guy was in the library and he done, was playing rugby or something, and next thing you know, he got all these scholarships. I don't give me a bona fide guy, been training and working hard, good film.
Yeah.
On the outliers. Kid get a swimming scholarship and Marcus Freeman just happened to see him and thought he had long length and offered him some shit. Now he playing DN. It's like this is the craziest stuff I've ever seen.
Relax, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. That's a bye, boy. Woo! You heard 6'4", and immediately you didn't get Ryan Mooney. You're just immediately thinking like we got 6'4"
Ryan Mooney. If
right
Tobias
now.
is not playing, there's no reason for Ryan Mooney even join the team. Because what you joining the team for? You have more fun playing baseball. Because you're just gonna be a scout team guy getting blasted every day. You're not gonna get no playing time. If Tobias ain't getting no playing time, you ain't definitely getting no playing time. So, I mean, what, man? He might as well just play baseball. At least you get right. We're not a team that wants a bunch of fast guys that can't play football. That's not who we want to be. That's a Rutgers. Rutgers is excited about a guy that runs a 4.4. But if he can't run no routes or nothing, That's the type of recruits they get. We want the 4-4 guys that got routes, that can block, that can run, catch. Not the 4-4 guys that play basketball, tennis, and swim, and then play
Mhm.
football in their off time. And they just is like, you know what? Out of all these options, I'll just go football.
Dude, you got LL Nation going now, boy. You got them going now. They going all in on Tobias right now in the chat.
This is
You just stirred them up.
man, that's what it is. Why don't we get some bona fide recruits, man? We always getting these one-off Renaissance men that do everything but just score touchdowns. Like, give me a guy that just score touchdowns.
Oh man, Lucky Lefty podcast, man. You gotta relax, man.
It's
You
true.
gotta
Like,
relax. You gotta relax.
man, like, come on.
You gotta relax, bro.
It's like we over, like, you know how you overcoach where you get so into it where it just overdo it. It's just we over recruit. You know, we too specific on recruiting where we get too detailed where we find out the family life, you know. We done find out every grade you done had, every interest and hobby you done took up. It's like you got a skateboard for 2 years before you get an offer or something. Like, you can't just be a football player. You got to do 15 other things.
I apologize. I let him off the leash today, guys. I let him off the leash today. This is, when we started the podcast, he was quarterback coach Malik. Now he's offensive coordinator Malik right now. So
I mean, this is like, come on, man. This is ridiculous.
oh man.
Did we even take a look at Jordan Addison? Was he even interested? Like, I feel like Jordan Addison doesn't care nothing but
Jordan Addison wasn't leaving money made Jordan Addison leave Pitt.
Well, maybe that's what we need. Maybe we just need to be realistic, you know.
Well, you know.
I don't know.
You and former players, y'all need to throw a little extra on the pulpit then. Michael Barr said, the boy said, what's next? Another John Bon Jovi kid?
Yeah, he probably on the team looking to start next year. Like, you know, every close November, it gets cold outside, and we do the classic fake like it's a serious meeting. You know, Marcus Freeman's gonna give his Oscar speech, and we're gonna offer the kid that play scout team all day, you know. And we all gonna make a big deal out of it and whatever. But these are the guys. Ryan Mooney are the guys that play at Notre Dame. By the way, those are the guys.
They find themselves on the field. I'll agree with that.
In 2 years from now, he gonna be sneaking in at starting, and then they're gonna tell a story.
He's not going to start. I'll place that bet with you right now.
Okay, I'll take it then.
I'll place that bet with you right now.
Where does Salerno come from?
Ryan Mooney, if he decides to come to Notre Dame, would not start a football game.
Is Tommy Rees going to be there? Then he's going to start in 2 years.
I doubt Tommy will be there in 2 years, though.
It's going to happen just like this. He's going to come in, no expectations. He's going to get into practice. He's going to get one-on-one chances with, you know, our starting corner, like Clarence Lewis or something. Ryan Mooney going to win a couple routes on him. Everybody's going to make a big deal out of it. Oh, walk on, da-da-da-da. Next thing you know, he's in there versus Navy. Starting. Because unfortunately, our guy got nicked up or, you know, whatever. And he's going to be in there running touchdowns. And they're going to tell the story. I already know they're going to tell the story. Oh, this kid was a baseball guy, and then he worked his way up so hard, and now he's starting for the team, and he's a American story that everybody should follow.
That's going to be Jason Garrett during the game.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get into a game versus Georgia, Clemson. He's gonna be nowhere to be found, and we still throwing it to him. 3rd and 10, we throwing it to him. Like, why are we throwing it to him on 3rd and 10? AKA Matt Salerno. Not that he's not good, but in big moments, I don't want to see Salerno catching the rock. I want to see Styles catching the rock. You know, guys that jerseys in the bookstore. That's what I want to see. Not the walk-on's favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like,
someone just said you are an early candidate for the petty train.
It's not petty. It's true, man. Like, dang. Alabama would never recruit a Ryan Mooney. Ever.
Oh, man.
Ever.
I don't know. Alabama's had some they've had some guys get ticked.
They've had some guys sneak on the field for sure. Like the number 10 dude from a couple years ago, white dude. He was a fake Hunter Renfro for a second.
Yeah.
And then they got them a Jalen Waddle. That's exactly what happened. They got them a Jalen Waddle the year after. And all that.
Renfro was Clemson.
Right. It was their version of Hunter Renfro.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at now if you get a Hunter Renfro, I'm not mad at a Hunter Renfro.
Our Hunter Renfro was Fink.
Yeah. I'm not mad. Fink was, Slip Fox was all good.
But guess what? Fink was a walk-on for 2 years. And guess what? He became a captain and a starter 2 years later.
So basically, you're saying I'm losing money with this bet? Is that what you're saying?
You're gonna lose this money.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. Question from Ozzy Mac: is Tyler not the guy because he didn't finish his high school career, where his coach didn't teach him pocket passing to where BK and Tommy started with basically a rough draft?
Man, listen. Some guys can beat Alabama. Some guys cannot. It is what it is.
All right. Shout out to you, Matt West. What's good, LL Nation? I just subscribed. We appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in.
Matt West.
Our boy, Captain Dipstick. What's up, my man? Have we ever gotten an explanation for why Tobias hasn't been playing yet? Well, beyond MF's trust. I don't think MF has anything to do with Tobias. If that's what you feel, then that's the wrong narrative.
The suggestion box for offense is filled up with a bunch of Marcus Freeman suggestions that I don't think being answered. So,
yeah, Tobias not playing is a Tommy issue.
Yeah,
That's
it.
That's a Tommy issue.
It's a Tommy issue.
And P-Dub says maybe he doesn't have a release package, bro. I can tell you from watching him in practice, that's not the issue.
No.
Dude, this dude is so smooth when he runs routes. I know one route he can run for sure, and that's the corner route. Because I watched him basically twist Jaden Mickey on a corner route in the slot. I know he can run that. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it. Drew Pine threw the ball high. He wasn't able to bring it down. Chancey Stuckey got on him because he said he didn't get his head around fast enough, and he should have made the catch. All I'm saying is,
where is the teammate support? If your coach going in the media saying I can't trust him because it is that and the third, the teammate, that receiver room needs to come together and be like, look, you gotta play. So if you don't know and you get in there, ask the dude next to you. I'll tell you your route. Because there's just no excuse to allow the coach to say that about a player that needs to be playing. You know what I mean? He needs to be playing. I don't care how it looks. If he don't know the route, tell him. Shit.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Yeah.
This ain't no test. We trying to win the game. If he can go run the post better than anybody else, and he lined up and he don't know the route, I would tell him, hey, bro, you got the post, bro. Go score. Hey, bro, you got the out. Run the out real quick. Yeah. Hey, get over here, bro. Run this. Because what are we doing then? He gonna be like, all right, thanks, bro, and run and score a touchdown. That's the trust. The trust for me is, are you gonna catch it? That's the trust I have.
Yeah.
Not are you gonna run the right route? We can tell you the right route. But can you catch it when I need it caught? When I throw it to you, are you going to catch it? That's my trust. That's the quarterback trust. And that should be the coach trust. Coaching, get him in the right spot. You can't say you don't trust him. You recruited him. You just can't say that. You can't say you can't trust him. You recruited him. You recruiting kids you don't trust?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I trusted you. That's why I recruited you. I'm coaching you to put you on the field. Know it or not. Antonio Brown still don't know the plays. But Ben Roethlisberger told him to play, and they scored a lot of points, made a lot of touchdowns, got a lot of yards. Tom Brady was telling AB to play to score in the Super Bowl. He told him what to do on that play. So if Tom Brady isn't above trusting guys and telling them what to do, Tommy is? Or is he being lazy? If I'm Tommy, I'm like, look, Braden Lindsay, if anytime Tobias is on your side, just double check to see if he know. Help the coach out. Because that's what a team is. We're trying to win games, not get 100% on a mental test. What are you talking about?
Joe H says, I'm gonna leave, this is an alley oop for you. Since you off the leash today, I'm just gonna throw all the stuff up for you. You off the leash, here you go. Why is Tobias not playing? Just a Tommy Reese issue. Does Chancey Stuckey have any input? Go ahead, Left. You want to talk about it.
No,
you might as well go back to who has total anonymity on.
When Marcus Freeman moved in, the house was already furnished. And he leased out all the furniture for a couple years, so he can't get rid of it. So now every month he's just making payments on something he didn't want. And people are complaining. But Marcus Freeman is like, I didn't come in here. I didn't get this. This is not my stuff. So if Marcus Freeman can't get the furniture out, what are we talking about? We know what the problem is, the furniture. Blame it on the furniture and the people that damaged the furniture before it got in the house.
Oh, man. So are you saying somebody has full authority on one side of the ball, Left? Or is that what you're saying?
I know that there was 2 coaches hired at the same time. And I don't know which one was the head. I know there's 2 coaches. One's the offensive head coach and there's a defensive head coach. And the defensive head coach has more responsibilities. So that's what it looks like. I don't know if it is, but I know that Marcus Freeman hired everybody else in the building except the one person that runs everything on offense. So does Chancey Stuckey have some say? Yeah, he probably makes some comments, but he just got there. So, if I'm Tommy, I wouldn't listen to Chancey too much either. If I'm running the whole show, I'm like, yeah, I got you, bro. I hear you, man. I'll think about it.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. Yo, great show today. We'll end it by talking about November the 5th. November the 5th was important before the season. We thought Notre Dame more than likely would be undefeated or would go into November the 5th with 1 loss. Unfortunately, they sit at 2-2. And even at 2-2, November 5th is the barometer for the season. Why? Every major recruit that we talk to will be in the place to be on November 5th.
And we got to win. It's a must-win game.
For so many reasons.
It's a playoff game of recruiting.
For so many reasons, what Notre Dame does that night.
It's a recruiting battle. This ain't a regular season game. This is the
Man,
recruiting game of the year. We will
man,
win the recruits if we win this game. If we lose twice. We lose recruits and the game.
I can't even really describe how enormous November 5th is. It was enormous before they played a game. But now it might be even more enormous, bro. I'm talking about every important recruit is pretty much like, yo, when you get into campus, November 5th. They're not even saying for the Clemson game. Like, when you coming, November 5th. When you get into campus, November 5th. Commits, you coming for November 5th? Yep. So I need a nice, clear night.
And them recruits don't want to listen to no pitches.
No, they are there.
Look like
They want to see what it looks like. Yes, sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
the interview. That's
Yes,
that's
sir.
the final interview process.
I'm here because of the relationship.
Yeah.
I came to the game because of the relationship.
You sold me on the brochures and cut grass and touchdown. I'm here now.
All of that.
Now, can you seal the deal on the field?
All of that.
That's right. You got me here.
Man, I don't care how great of a game he called against North Carolina. Boy, you better come up with an all-timer on November 5th, Tommy Reeves. Boy, you better call the game of your life.
Like your life depended on it. More important than any other game in the past. And damn near for the rest of the season moving forward.
Exactly.
This the game. Okay, Ohio State, okay, boo, okay, we get that. This game?
Man.
Marcus Freeman had just talked to you before the game. Like, listen, I can put everything behind us. But tonight, don't go out there embarrassing me. I tell him that. I done spent too hard off season, built up in recruiting to this point here. Now you can go in there and make up some stuff and BS some stuff on offense. And I can't say too much to you. But you mess up my recruiting night. At all them trips I done took, them flights I done took, them dinners I done ate, them speeches I done gave to pull these kids here.
What you talking? You gonna treat them like Frito and Godfather too?
And you gonna do all this, and you gonna have me set all this up for November 5th, one day of the year for our biggest guys, and you gonna go out there and you better play well. And you better call it like your life depended on it.
Man.
Because this will set Marcus Freeman back a good year or two.
I wouldn't say a year.
I would say a year.
I wouldn't say a year. No. I would say a year. Because
it was like an off season, though.
No. Because we got to be honest. We can't say that they recognize the roster and the depth of talent wasn't there. And they're trying to rebuild that really in the first two classes. And then, they can get talent.
But November 5th is the guys, that's the foundation piece that you build on, though. You build on it in Pemba. You build on that. That's our next linebacker going to the league.
Yeah. The next line, no. I disagree with that. It's about two linebackers that are on the team right now going to the league before Pemba goes to the league.
Who you got?
Sneed, Collie, and Ziegler are all going to the league.
I like Ziegler. They're not showing Collie no love, though. He might, he getting older now.
He's a sophomore, fam. What are you talking about?
Okay, but think about it.
That's your Notre Dame window, right?
If you extrapolate this through the rest of the season, I look at it, is he going to be frustrated? And then you're going to roll in all these powerful recruits coming in next to class. He's going to be like, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
And that window is true. I don't care who the head coach. That window is true at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You missed that little red shirt sophomore window, red shirt junior window. It's wraps. It's wraps.
Yeah.
Go get your degree and move on, man. Don't even play with it. Unless you get lucky like a Shaun Crawford.
Yeah.
Who could be there for about 10 years.
Yeah.
You know.
And I've been watching IMG games, and Pemba's really been playing more of strong side in for them.
Well, yes,
I don't know. He's been playing strong side in for them. So I don't know if that's where he's going to play, but I mean, it's pretty much Notre Dame, Georgia for Pemba, because Missouri is a wrap. You can kick them off the list.
Missouri is definitely a wrap.
Yeah, that whole home state, hometown thing. Nah, that's not
that only works for offensive players like Rodney Gallagher.
Exactly. Lucky Lefty podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being part of our climb to 3,000. Brought to you by Onora Whisky. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Yep. Petty Junction, pettiest stories of the day, brought to you by Onora Whisky. OnoraWhisky.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. Bro, petty train, not as full as yesterday, but you know what? Let me go ahead and start it out. Before we get to it, happy 24th anniversary to Outkast and the Aquemini album. One of the dopest. Let's go to Disneyland out there by you, Lef, where, they have the Star Wars part of the theme park that rave reviews with the restaurants, everything, the interaction between the characters and the fans and patrons has been fantastic. But one guy, you know how adults can just take it too far, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and then, the characters at the park, they had to let them know.
Clear the way, please.
Hold yourself. A lightsaber. Interesting.
If there's one Jedi left, it's not you. Affirmative.
Bruh.
That's right. Yeah, get that out of here. You're not even official, son. You're not official.
First of all, man, you're a grown man walking around with a lightsaber,
Clear the
bro.
way, please.
Hold yourself. A lightsaber. Interesting.
If there's one Jedi left, it's not you. Affirmative.
Getting played by a character at a park. Can't get worse than that.
They were petty for that, bro. They didn't have to come at him like that. But that's what you get, man. Big grown self. Relax, man. Oh, I did see this. One of your former teammates said hello.
Jacob Matuska, Columbus guy.
Yeah, your boy Jacob. I'm sure it had to be an Ohio connection. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. It's for the Culture Friday. We'll be back doing some big things. We'll be talking a little bit of betting. Have a betting guest on. Give you guys some nice tips for the weekend. We'll talk some Heisman talk tomorrow, right? Since it's a bye week. Talk some Heisman talk. And someone that actually said C.J. Stroud is the 5th best quarterback in the nation. Someone actually said this. That C.J. Stroud is the 5th best quarterback in the nation. We'll talk about that type of foolishness tomorrow on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Subscribe, share, Most of all, hit that like button. Let everybody know Lucky Lefty. So for my man, Malik Zaire, the original Lucky Lefty himself, I'm Shaun Davis. Have a great Thursday, but most of all, make sure